Welcome to the newest episode of the Needless Things podcast. If I'd thought about it, I would have had a theme song ready, but hey, guess what? This is the first Needless Things live stream in years, I think since before the pandemic. And we really haven't done it in this format at all. We do Audible Interlude all the time, but this is Needless Things. And that being the case, we've got some special guests. We're doing things a little differently. First, I'm going to bring into the show somebody who's part of the Needless Things family. He is officially our head of research. Ryan Schweck, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Talk about the old toy fair. I'm honored to be here on the first return of the Needless Things Live.
Right? Because we've done recorded stuff. You were on for the Penguin. We've done other things, but for whatever reason, I just haven't felt like, oh, we got to do a live stream. But Toy Fair felt like the right way to come back, and we'll be doing these more regularly. And I've been, kind of pitching ideas to our special guest for a little while now about doing some kind of toy-related thing. So let me bring in now from Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. Actually, I'm going to let him introduce himself because he's so much better at it than I am.
What is this, a crossover episode?
No, it's an X-over episode. That's how they do it now, right?
Well, I am your Cobra intern in 2025 AD, codename Legion Cub, here to talk about toys, which is like the only thing I know.
It's really all we do. So, yeah, that's I think over the past couple of years, Kristian, I've mentioned to you a couple of times, hey, we should do like a toy news episode, and then I never do it. And
yeah. Well, because the toy news never stops, as opposed to like when we're trying to do G.I. Joe news, and it always happens after we do a show.
Right. We have to end up spending 45 minutes talking about the new gun that Call Sign Longbow showed.
Right.
Like, that's all we've got. Speaking of Audible Interlude, Wreckship85 is in the chat. Good to see you here. And guess what? Since this is not Audible Interlude, you are brought back to your full rank in things. As soon as Monday comes around, you're back to sub-private or whatever you were last time. But you are consider yourself fully ranked again tonight. So what we're going to be doing is talking about Toy Fair 2025. Before we get to that, I should do our regular stuff. So follow us on Instagram at Needless Things Channel. And also Phantom Troublemaker. Go to the pinned stories there. Check out our TeePublic store. We have some Needless Things shirts as well as a couple other weird things. We're going to be putting some new designs up soon. I've got something special coming up for FrankenCon, May 9th and 10th. I will be there showing Troublemaker as well as doing a couple of other things. I'm very excited to have the opportunity. I don't believe I can announce those things yet, but soon. But I'm going to be doing some cool stuff at FrankenCon. And I am announcing for the first time ever that the Needless Things crew, some of us, will be appearing in Duluth, Georgia at Stellar Fest, April 4th through 6th. We will be putting on a special edition, a special intergalactic edition of the Big Damn Game Show. We will be hosting a panel of adventure, and we will be hosting a Doctor Who panel. That's Stellar Fest. You know how to use Google. Check it out, look it up. But come out and say hi. I'll have some Needless Things stickers to give away, and if you come out to the Big Damn Game Show, obviously you'll have the opportunity to win fabulous prizes. And then finally, this is a last-minute thing I just made a decision on. So Topps got the WWE license back, and these Chrome Topps WWE trading cards are apparently hot commodities. I happen to get a couple of boxes. Tomorrow night, right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel, I will be opening these boxes up and just doing a live open up some trading cards and see if maybe I can get one of those two remaining one-of-one Rock signature cards that are out there. If you have not heard this story, The Rock hasn't officially signed stuff in about 20 years. And there are 3 one-of-one Rock signature cards in the, not in these probably, but, in these as part of this run. And
so if you find it, do you get to go to the Rock's factory? And
if you find it, you'll be able to afford to go to the Rock's factory. Someone found it and found one of them and was interviewed on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. They did not define the amount of money they got, but they referred to it as life-changing money, and that it is the 3rd most valuable wrestling trading card sold of all time. And we're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
If he did not spend it all on like an outdoor pizza oven and a huge barbecue set so that every time he cooks, he can be like, do you smell what I'm cooking?
Well, I'll tell you what he spent it on probably is he probably started up a wrestling promotion.
I mean,
there's not enough of those.
He's going to spend the next 20 years getting swindled by independent wrestlers.
The correct answer is to buy more wrestling trading cards to get number 2 and 3. You got to spend money to make money.
So anyway, I think that's all the stuff we've got to promote. Just check in tomorrow night. Probably around 8-ish is when I'll do that. But we'll have fun with it. There are only a few very specific things I'm likely to keep. So if you're here, if you're hanging out, if you're in the comments, I'll probably work out get rid of the rest of the cards. People can claim them or whatever. We'll figure something out. Really informal, but it'll be fun just to open up cards and see what we get. And at some point in the future, I have an entire box of the Fright cards, the old horror trading cards from like the late 80s or whenever it was. At some point, we're doing something with those, but that'll be at a later date.
Is there any gum in those?
Yes.
Oh, are you gonna eat some gum on the air?
They have the old the gum that seemed like it was 20 years old the year it came out.
But I bet it's still good.
Well,
I don't think it goes bad.
Chances are, when we do this, 2 things will be happening. We will be drinking, and Ryan Cadaver will be there. So I can almost guarantee somebody's going to be eating a piece of that gum. All right, so we got to get to Toy Fair business. What is up, JJ Shoulder Height in the chat? It's nice to see that Needless Things logo on a live stream again. It's nice to be seen. It feels good to be live again, and we'll be doing more of this. Look at this, Reverend Scott Stripling art. I will smell it. I'll smell the gum. Oh wow, look at this. JJ Shoulderhide says, "I'll trade you a pack of Yo MTV Raps cards. Deal. I will send you some of those Fright cards if you want to send me some Yo MTV Raps cards. I also have Dick Tracy cards, Skeleton Warrior cards, some Star Trek. I've got
they're hanging from his ceiling, as you
they're all just hanging up there. I pretend they're bike wheels up there. No,
it's at the Old West.
If I go to like an antique store or a flea market or somewhere like that, and they've got some weird, like a whole box of weird old trading cards for $25 or less, I just buy it. I don't care what it is, because they make great giveaway. As I mentioned, we do a game show. They make great things to stuff in a prize bag. They're weird. Like you show up to your friends and you pull a thing of Dick Tracy trading cards out of your pocket and just hand it to them. Like, I like having bizarre old trading cards laying around.
If you walk up to me and hand me some Dick cards, I'm going to be a little upset.
Okay,
I'm going to keep an eye out. All right, we got to get down to business. Speaking of Dick, time to get down to business. We're talking about Toy Fair 2025, and what we've done is each of us have picked our top 10 sort of favorite things from Toy Fair, and it may be a line, it may be a figure, it may be an announcement, whatever. We're just going to run through this. What we used to do, and you can still check out like our old Toy Fair episodes on the Needless Things podcast, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts. We did Toy Fair for like 10 years or something every year, and we would run down everything. And by the time we were done, Everybody was sick of talking about toys. Ryan, I think you threw up on one of them, or was it Jay?
Oh no, I think it was me.
I
I think you hear it in the background.
Yeah. Jay fell asleep.
Yeah,
You threw up. Jay fell asleep live on the air. But those old episodes were a lot of fun, but they just went too long. So we decided to kind of break it down a little bit. And so we're just going to each go through and list. Now, I didn't necessarily put mine in top 10 order. And with the way that the slides are, I don't know that you guys did either. We'll find out as we go. But I will say this, since Kristian is our very special guest, technically, for Needless Things,
I am the Jonathan Harris of tonight.
That's it. Oh man, there's never been a better description of your position in this show. So you will be kicking things off with the first pick of yours that I put in the slides. We'll just put it that way.
That's how I prefer it.
So here we go.
Look at this. Okay, so I don't collect Masters of the Universe Origins figures. I do Masterverse and New Eternia. But this playset is incredible and can fit so many other toy lines. Making the hand puppet an actual separate dragon figure now.
Bo Brown's going to be furious that it's not a puppet anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's why God invented socks and googly eyes. Like
he said he was going to be in here watching tonight. I don't know if he's here or not, but I would love to hear his thoughts about that not being a puppet now.
I just think you get more use out of it now. The side face sculpted on, but to me, what absolutely 100% made this a must buy for me is so many of those old vacuum form play sets. Everything is on one side, right? Like, honestly, Castle Grayskull, you flipped it around and you played with the inside of it. Snake Mountain, you had the outside of it. When you flipped it around to the inside, you were like, ooh, a net. This is exciting. But this new Fright Zone playset, you can remove the front piece, spin it around, and connect it to actually make an equally as entertaining playset for the inside.
Well, you know what? I didn't put the other picture in here, but that's okay, because what people need to do is go visit toynewsy.com, Toy News International, or toyark.com, who both very generously agreed to let us use images from their websites for this live stream. Now, this image is not from their websites. This was released by Mattel. But everybody go check out toyark.com or Toy News International for full galleries of everything that we're going to talk about tonight, including a lot more images of this Fright Zone. Now, this was on my list as well because I love it, and because if you remember when Mattel put up their Mattel Creations where they were going to have people select a playset, and the original image of that Snake Castle playset, I said this could work for so many different toy lines, and that's why I liked it. And then they completely changed it into something totally different that I didn't even want anymore. But this Fright Zone, same thing. This can work for G.I. Joe, for Visionaries, for Masters, for whatever. Like, this is a fantastic big diorama piece, basically. Schweck, when you saw this thing, what one, were you surprised they were going back to the Fright Zone?
I mean, they seem to be getting through most stuff. I was a big fan of the Fright Zone when I was younger. Like, I think I wore my puppet out. But I think you're right. I like the idea of it not being a puppet. You having the extra little creature. Like, you could use this for a little Dagobah playset too.
Yeah, absolutely.
The scary part of Dagobah.
This could be the cave.
Yeah, this is what the cave really is.
But yeah, on the back side of this, there's a throne for Hordak. It actually has stuff on the back as opposed
there's
to
a lava wall. There's The one thing I haven't been able to figure out from the photos is it looks like you also take the prison out and flip it around, because you have access to the prison on the other side, but none of the promotional photos, like there isn't light coming in through it.
Right,
So
right.
it's
So they did
not
something.
open on both sides.
Yeah, I bet
That-
you're right. I bet you can flip it
Mm-hmm.
around.
Yeah, that break in the plastic looks like you can pull it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something up there for sure. Hoffman is in the chat. He said, "Did the Snake Man's Castle ever get a new version shown?" And no, not yet. And I don't know if they're redoing it or they gave up or what. I haven't heard anything else about that. If they go back to the original design, I'm in. But I have zero interest in the one that they showed.
Oh, also, because I know how you like to brag, because Mattel has figured out
What am I,
how to
Noel?
do, right? Mattel has figured out how to do Chrome, and Hasbro seems to not. But Mattel also knows how to give you multiple birds in a
Yes.
playset. Not saying anything for Hasbro characters that, I don't know, are designed after a bird. But yeah,
Yeah, you could
so I'm
you
just
could
as
get
excited
this,
to get the crows there.
and Raptor could have some more pets.
Yeah.
Reverend Scott Stripling Art has a good point. Slime Pit. I'm actually kind of surprised they got to this before they got to the Slime Pit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that thing is legend. I would say after Castle Grayskull, the Slime Pit is the most known playset of Masters of the Universe. There's got to be a reason they haven't revisited it.
Well, and slime being such a huge freaking I don't want to use the word toy, 'cause it's not really a toy, but it has had such a resurgence, I would say, in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, the
Slime
fact that
is-
now girls are, they design slime play sets directly to the girls market. Like,
Well, even there's the whole thing of like slime with doodads in it.
Mhm.
It's like a stress thing. I don't know
Yep.
exactly what it is, but yeah, slime is the universal language. All right, I am up next. Let's see what I picked. Oh, okay. So this is from our pals over at toyark.com. This is NECA's releases of the 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I think is my, while the 1990 movie is the greatest comic adaptation of all time, it's my favorite version of the Turtles. I have to say the 2012 cartoon is probably the best adaptation of the Turtles. It was absolutely incredible. If you missed it, you have to go back and watch it. And these look great. I've got Japanese releases of these turtles. I can't remember if they're Bandai or Medicom or who the heck made them. They're really nice, but they've got the weird Japanese joints where like you move them, it feels like it's going to break, and then it clicks. You know what I'm talking about, Christian?
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And so they look incredible, but they're just not fun to play with. Whereas these from NECA look incredible. And NECA has, as I've said in every NECA review I've done for the past like 4 years, they've got it down now. The plastic tolerances, the articulation, their products are some of the best quality products on the market. So I'm really excited to be getting these turtles, the Foot Soldier, Shredder. Like I'll take this whole line. And the fact that they've got Ice Cream Kitty right up front, let's go. So I'm super stoked about this. Now, did you guys watch this when it was Schweck? I'm sure you did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The kid was a big fan.
Right. What do you think of these designs?
When I first saw them and I saw the Foot Soldier, which looks correct, I was like, there is no way that thing is going to stand up like that. But then I remembered it's NECA, and it probably is going to. It's probably going to be completely fine.
Yeah, the way that they do the joints and everything now, and just looking at the feet, I would imagine that'll end up working.
Mm-hmm.
But I will find out, and I will review them here on the channel because I will buy every single one of these. All right, Schweck, you are up next. Let's see what your first pick is.
What's it gonna be?
Oh, the one that wasn't even really your pick. we went through a process with some of yours.
We did. I forgot some things that had already been announced previously, so there's some reissues in there. Now, the Super Friends, I'm still a sucker for Super Friends. And while I haven't been buying basically any McFarlane stuff, I'll get suckered into these.
I know, even though McFarlane's DC, or we'll talk about that later in the show, even though we know what's going on with McFarlane and DC, these just look so perfect.
Yep. Yeah, they've got the proportions right. And people have released Super Friends redos before, and they've always been off. Yeah, they've never felt right. These feel better, and I think look a lot better.
Yeah, the proportions are nice. I like that they're doing them in the size and style of the Batman 66 figures. I think that's the appropriate, because it would be redundant if they had done them in the Superpowers style.
Right.
So I like this. It looks like the animation. I think this will be a nice little subline to collect, and then once the license goes away, to be like, why did I buy these, and put them in a tote?
Which is exactly what's going to happen. Actually, it'll probably be when the box gets here, and I'll be like, these are great, and I'll open them and mess with them, and then I'll go, wow.
Right.
They got me.
But yeah, the sculpt, the paint, everything, the colors on them are nice and vibrant. I really like these. I was very happy to see them, but not as happy as I was at the news that we'll talk about a little bit later on. All right. Well, actually, Kristian, you grew up with this stuff too. Were you tempted at all by these, or are you just out of McFarlane?
So I actually never got into the McFarlane stuff, mainly because I was into the DC Classics and Universe line, and the McFarlane stuff being at 7 inches didn't match up. Yeah. And so I like these. I agree with you. I think there's a market for them. They honestly are the best representations of the Super Friends cartoon look that I think we've seen. Even DC Classics didn't do a great job when they did theirs. Yeah. But I also hate constantly going back to that wheelhouse. So
well, and that's
I
what
feel
happens.
like there is a market for them.
Yeah.
But it's a market that probably already has 5 of that design of Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what happens so many times, though. It's just like what Hasbro did with the O-rings, where they did Sunbow Duke and Sunbow Cobra Commander, but they really weren't. They were just those colors. And that was DC Universe Classics was kind of the same thing, where yeah, they did the Super Friends looks or colors, but they didn't look like the cartoon.
Yeah.
And that's what makes these special. So Stacks in the comments says, I'll buy those NECA TMNT purely because I miss the Revoltech. By no means can NECA match Revoltech for articulation, but I can see them getting the license again, or can't see them getting the license again or re-release them. And that's what I've got. I've got the Revoltech ones.
Okay. I especially now know what you're talking about, because I have some of the Revoltech kaiju that are small and very much so.
You move that leg and it just doesn't seem like it's going to move, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to break this off, and then it goes click, and the little
it's got that ratchet.
Yeah, the ratchet.
But every time I hear it, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, I almost dropped the figure. I know it's coming. It's like a Jack in the Box.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like Buddy the Elf.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So we are back to Kristian with.
All right. So this, another surprise for me, in that we know Diamond is going bankrupt, but Diamond Select as an entity, they're trying to sell off.
I hadn't even thought about that. I was thinking of it just as Diamond's distribution arm.
No, it's Diamond as a whole.
It's everything.
Yeah, and
I hadn't even
part
thought
of
about that.
part of the bankruptcy chit chat is that they are trying to find, like, there are other companies that are interested in acquiring all those licenses.
Somebody'll
That
pick that up because Diamond's got too
right.
many licenses to not grab.
And when it comes to Marvel Legends versus Diamond Select, again, it's like McFarlane versus DC Universe, where the Select toys, are like 7 inches or bigger, depending. But when I love Jack Kirby designs,
Mhm.
and when you get something that is just so, to me, iconically Kirby, and that's what this Annihilus figure is doing. Whereas the Marvel Legends version that came out, it feels like a millennia ago, was more like, oh, can we take this and update it, by giving him tattered wings and
Well, that was one of the first
Yeah.
Hasbro Marvel Legends sets, right?
Yeah.
If not the first.
right. And they haven't done one
It's the
since,
first.
which is surprising because he's such a great villain. But this is where I feel like that larger scale will work great with my Marvel Legends Fantastic Four figures. And again, it's just such a great Kirby design. So I'm glad to see it. I'm excited.
I totally agree. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'll get this. Because when my watcher that sits with my Marvel Legends is the Marvel Select watcher, and they fit. And you're right. Like, that first Annihilus from the return to Marvel Legends is, the wave is garbage, the figure's garbage. And, they seem to be pushing away from Build-A-Figures and Legends. So I don't know that we will get him. He'll probably be some deluxe figure.
Well, he'd be a deluxe.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll especially with the Fantastic Four movie coming.
Yeah.
We're getting an Annihilus in the next year or so. I guarantee. But this one looks great, and you got to think the price point. I think these bigger Diamond Selects are going for like $30 now. That price point is great for as well done and large as these figures are.
It's not much more than a Marvel Legends, to be honest with you.
Well, and especially if it's a deluxe Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
They're pushing to 40 on those.
Yeah. So yeah, this looks great. I don't know a ton about the character, to be honest. Who's this little toad guy with him?
So that's him, actually. So Annihilus he considers himself more or less like the king of the negative zone. And everything that is not his head is actually just armor. And so the little...
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when the armor is destroyed, or I can't remember what it's called, but the little rod thing that kind of gives him his power, like that little insect creature is actually what he is. So he's this, like the quintessential Napoleon complex.
Sure. Oh, that's great. I like that. Oh, and I see that rod. It's on the front of his armor right there, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I dig it. All right. Let's find out what I've got next. Oh, okay. This disappointed me. It disappointed me that Toy Newsy and Toy Arc did not have images of these. Kristian, you sent me images. That was the first time I saw them. But everything that's out there is just from somebody's Instagram or somebody that was at the show.
Yeah.
So I couldn't find shareable images of the new Reaction Plus stuff. Universal Monsters and Back to the Future figures were both shown, which is funny because Back to the Future was on my Let's Freaking Go Ring short list. I think we've even talked about it on the show, maybe. If you don't check out Audible Interlude regularly, we have a segment called Let's Freaking Go Ring where we speculate on what would make a great O-ring line. We've talked about stuff like Die Hard, Wizard of Oz, oddly enough, that won us all over in the end.
Yeah.
That was Knowles. So we just talk about what franchises could make great O-ring toy lines. So Reaction Plus, we saw a Creature from the Black Lagoon, a Dracula,
a mummy.
Yeah. And then they showed regular Marty, Rock and Roll Marty, and Doc from Back to the Future, which is making me kick myself for selling my Diamond Select DeLorean because it was scaled for those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was
Well,
because I had the Back to the Future reaction figures next to it,
Mm.
and it's basically a 1/18 scale DeLorean. But they look great. I'm all in on Reaction Plus. As I mentioned on our last episode of Audible Interlude, I will no longer be buying 2 of each since the actually, I didn't mention it on Audible Interlude because we didn't realize it until after the show.
Right.
So here's an Audible Interlude exclusive for anybody watching Needless Things. I've been buying 2 of every. I don't know if I can get this down or not. I've been buying 2 of every Reaction Plus G.I. Joe release. I was gonna one to open, one to keep mint on card. I was gonna, just like I've done with Reaction, I was just gonna keep a set mint on card. And then it was pointed out during the show that the Wild Bill card art from the 3rd wave of G.I. Joe Reaction Plus has 6 fingers. And we kind of thought they were just joking. And then I looked after the show and he does, which means that card art is generated by AI. It's just being done slightly more successfully than Hasbro's terrible AI card art. But I'm not keeping AI card art mint on card. So Reaction Plus for me is now 1 of each just to open, and I will burn the freaking card when I'm done with it.
Take that, Skynet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Although I will say this, I am currently using AI to release social media clips of Audible Interlude because it's a free feature of our hosting service. And look, to be honest, that's what AI should be used for stuff that you don't have time to do yourself. Like that's a different thing to me, because what it does is it's got some, and by the way, it's terrible. If you go to Audible Interlude Podcast on Instagram and look at the clips I've posted, they're horrendous. But it kind of just made me laugh when they started coming out, especially when like the 5th clip was us talking shit about AI.
Yes.
Which I think that one's going up tomorrow. I've got to look. But anyway, I'm going to keep using those because nobody's said anything about it yet. And if they do say anything about it, that's just engagement. So win-win. What is up, okay? Stacks. Surprised we haven't gotten O-Ring wrestling figures yet. O-Ring would make fantastic wrestling figures, especially the likes of Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man, Legion of Doom, Classic Surfer, Sting. I agree 100%, but I think the challenge in the marketplace right now is wrestling outside of the current accepted figure formats is a little bit of a tough sell. But here's where I think Super 7 could get their feet back into it. They have already done some Lucha Libre figures in Reaction, and I think if they did, because they did them in suits, I think Teneblis might have been in his gear, but if Super 7 would revisit the Lucha stuff and do like Blue Demon, Santa, like get into some of the old school guys in O-Ring form, start there. And I think they might have something. All right, next up, back to Schweck. Let's find out. I wish I had a like boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop, like randomizer thing. Oh, actually, wait a minute.
It's kind of exciting. I like not
What do we
knowing.
got here? So this is here. I'm not going to do that every time. All right.
I need a good Pee-wee figure. And is this a great one? The face isn't.
The portrait's questionable.
Yeah, but you get Terry. You're going to get the cardboard. The box can be the door, so you can have him peek it in, which is what I would probably do. But I just realized I need a good Pee-wee figure. I don't have one.
Yeah, I'm really excited about NECA getting the license to do Pee-wee stuff.
Mhm.
They've already, the Toonie Pee-wee has already come out in this version. This is part of NECA's Target's March Collector Con, which is difficult because if you're a conscientious individual, you are currently in the midst of a 40-day strike against Target. So their Collector Con is happening right in that 40-day strike. and they've got a lot of incredible stuff hitting the shelves.
But their Collector Con is a struggle bus anyway.
I have not found that to be the case. Here is how Collector Con. I really am
in Atlanta, where we get everything.
I really am the Knoll of this episode, aren't I? No, this is how Collector Con typically goes for me. Is they release the dates. I find the thing in store like 2 weeks before the date.
They call Dave up. Hey, we're going to roll the red carpet out. Come on down.
They call me up to the model Target where all that product actually goes. And they're like, all right, come take your Instagram picture in this Target and, you know, and then put it up online so all 3 of your followers can see it. And then they'll go to Target and end up buying soap or something. But anyway, very, very excited about like a full 1/10 scale Pee Wee Herman. Detail on the suit and everything looks great.
Yeah.
We'll see what the portrait looks like in person. I'm willing to bet the photography is not super here and that in person it'll look great. But let me throw this a concept at you guys. So Pee Wee Herman, this is it, right? Like there are not really many variants to be done. This is what Pee Wee Herman looks like. But I submit you can also release Pee Wee with the scooter from Pee Wee's Playhouse. Who's got the helmet with him. Same figure, but just with a scooter and a helmet. You can release Pee Wee with his bicycle from the movie. You can release a Pee Wee and Francis 2-pack. Like, they can re-release this exact figure, probably with some different facial expressions, like 10 times, and I will buy them all because of the stuff that comes with them. Think about Magic Shop Pee Wee, and he includes, like, all of the stuff from the Magic Shop.
See, that's what I was thinking, how they've done, like, the accessory packs for the Gremlins and some of their other lines. I was thinking you could very easily do Pee Wee accessory packs where you have like the dinosaurs that live in the playhouse, magic tricks, or Globy. Like it.
Can I get a hot dog tree?
Look, consider
because I love the hot dog tree.
Consider this. So NECA is releasing the whorehouse from Beetlejuice as a diorama playset. To me, there is no question that we're getting a Pee Wee's Playhouse playset.
Oh, be still.
You can give us a couple. You can give me the living room. You can give me a separate kitchen playset. I can open the fridge and with all the little guys in it. I'd buy all of it.
But I mean, if they're making a whorehouse, they can for sure make the Playhouse. I think there's probably a much bigger demand for that. Let's see. Yeah. Hoffman's asking, are we getting a Cowboy Curtis? It's entirely possible. He was part of Super 7 did the Pee Wee's Playhouse reaction figures. And granted, for something like this, there would be likeness involved, so they'd have to talk to Lawrence Fishburne. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
But that depends, because the original, I can't remember who did them, but the very first Pee Wee's Playhouse toys that came out while the show was on.
Weren't they?
Were they? I have them, but
they're Matchbox.
They're at my storage unit.
Matchbox?
They were by Matchbox, yeah.
Okay.
But that didn't deal with likeness. Neither did the Super 7 ones.
But the package had his likeness on it. So there still be same thing with Miss Yvonne. Like there would be something somewhere. Who knows how long that contract was for, though?
Yeah, right. And so, but anyway, there are a lot of possibilities related to Pee Wee Herman. It's a very exciting thing to see. All right, that brings us back to Kristian. Kristian, we are now in, well, yeah, you know what? I put up a 2 earlier. This would actually be
3.
Well, no, we started at the bottom.
Oh,
whatever. It doesn't matter.
That's very fitting.
Kristian, your next pick is.
Yeah. All right. So, words cannot describe the squee of joy the gay gasp heard around the world when I saw this, because most people will look at it and see Krang and go, oh, they're doing the Metaluna mutant.
Right.
Yeah, Krang is the Metaluna mutant, but Krang's android body is robot 3D, which was the gorilla suit with the diving bell on it. That is such a great deep dive. And the fact that it's wearing 3D glasses
is incredible.
So I just think it's a great mashup of those two monsters to make like that whole Turtles Monsters line. Like, I feel like every design has been great. I feel like it peaked with Van Helsing Splinter. But this, whether you like Turtles or not, this could sit on your shelf and just
be a unique toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't collect any of the Turtle stuff, but I can see buying this because it looks like a little art statue.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a reason for that. It's because it was designed by James Groman, who designed all of the Monster Turtle crossovers and who also designed My Pet Monster and Mad Balls.
What?
Yeah, I can see the Mad Balls influence in there.
Any opportunity do you have to purchase James Groman's art for retail price, you should take, because I mean, you're looking at his sensibilities right here. This was on my list as well. This is incredible. This is, as you said, this is a piece of art. This transcends. I mean, I look at every toy in here in some way as a piece of art, every toy in this room, but this is something special. This is a must-have. JJ Shoulderheight says, this is who I want to be when I grow up. Reverend Scott Stripling says, this is the most exciting toy I saw. I agree. And he also did, he did all of the he has designed all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters crossovers. But they're starting to get really weird with them, which is his wheelhouse. They also had a two-headed turtle on display that is awesome. But next to this, nothing looks awesome next to this. All right, let's see what my next pick was. Oh wait, I didn't, because I picked that one as well. So that was also my next pick. So Schweck, you're up next with one that I almost put on my list.
Yeah, so it is. Oh, now I'm going to remember who made this. Trick or Treat Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was passing through looking at kind of all the stuff Trick or Treat's coming out with, and got to this Crow figure. And then I had to stop and realize I don't have a comic book Crow figure, which is crazy to me.
Have they made?
Surely they have.
I feel like they haven't made one that has articulation like this. I feel like
I feel like they've done like statues.
Maybe so.
Right.
I don't know if I've seen
McFarlane style action figures where, there's, an arm joint there, but you're not moving that arm.
I don't even know if and I could be wrong here. I'm Googling as we speak. We've seen so many movie figures over the years. It's been done tons and tons and tons of times. I don't think there has been a comic book figure. And I could be wrong. And anybody listening, if you're listening to this, wherever you get your podcasts, shoot me a message at Phantom Troublemaker on
Needless Things call channel. Lenny.
Yeah, Rec Ship should know. I want to hear your feedback. Needless Things channel on Instagram. Shoot us a message. But I really don't think a comic Crow has been done. But this looks great. I mean, this is a great pick. It looks exactly like the comic art.
Yeah, and this picture doesn't have a good angle on that head sculpt, but I saw some other ones. The second head sculpt, and the second one's even better. The smiling, kind of big grin one that's like straight from a panel in the book.
So one of the reasons I'm glad you picked this one is I want to talk about Trick or Treat Studios a little bit. They're really making big moves in the toy world. I've reviewed some of their stuff here on the channel. I reviewed their 5-inch Captain Spaulding, some of their Toxic Crusaders stuff, and they're doing really cool things. But at the same time, so like this figure, fully articulated, like modern style, super articulated action figure. But they're also doing, we'll talk about another one in a minute, some kind of like when Mezco first started doing horror, where they had the sculpts were more, rather than saying the sculpts were bad, I'm going to say they were stylized. Very limited articulation. And Trick or Treat they're kind of going that route now. And it's hard for me to look at, like, say, a Leatherface figure that only moves at the shoulders and doesn't have the best, has a stylized sculpt. When I've got 4 incredible Leatherface figures from NECA on my shelf over there. Like, I'm not sure who, and these figures cost $35. Like, I want their Killer Clowns from Outer Space figures, but I'm not paying $35 for a figure with 2 points of articulation. Like, yeah. I don't get their scaling.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff reminds me of like the early movie Maniacs too.
Well, even those look better.
But they were a little screen more accurate, but just with that articulation and
yeah. Well, and that's what it was, is McFarlane did the movie Maniacs and really opened the door for licensed horror action figures. And then Mezco came along a couple years later and started doing their I think they started with the silver screen stuff, the silent movie figures like Nosferatu and Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. And then they started getting licenses for like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that. But like I said, their figures were they weren't realistic. They were just proportioned differently and styled differently. And to me, never quite lived up to what McFarlane was doing. And then NECA came along and just changed everything with not with durability, but with sculpt. Really changed the game. Anyway, this figure to me is a must-have. This was a formative comic book for me, and obviously, the movie connection is a huge deal as well. But this looks incredible. I just wonder what the price point is going to be if they're selling a figure this size with 2 points of articulation for $35. This one clearly has 20 or more points of articulation. Is this going to be a $70 figure?
I couldn't find anything on it.
I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. And it's worth noting it does have swappable arms and the trench coat as well. All right. Next up, we are back to Kristian with another one that I also, it was also on my list.
This was close to being on mine.
So I am mainly talking about the Jaws the Shark as Jaws the game.
Right.
For any kid that grew up in the 70s and 80s, like whether your parents would let you watch Jaws that young, you had Jaws the game.
Yes.
And
or one of the knockoff versions that was just like Shark the Game or whatever it was.
Right.
Beach Attack.
Yeah, right.
I was looking into the history of it because I know that there have been other releases, and there's been one as recent as 2011 so is this the first time that NECA is giving us Bruce the Shark?
So
that's what I was thinking, because
they have been working on a Bruce. Do you remember? I think it might have been 5 or 6 years ago. I've got them when the 8-inch clothed figures came out.
Yeah.
They have been working on a Bruce since before that, and they just kept running into all these problems. They were trying to do one that was going to be foam rubber, They've done a lot of different things, and originally it was going to be scaled to go with those 8-inch figures. And they just had problem after problem after problem, and now clearly they have found the best possible solution.
Yeah, because they've got the articulation dimple there that the jowls on the side of his face, and tossing in all those accessories from the game as what they would be in real life.
That's what killed me, is the fact that those are the game accessories, but they're real. They look real.
Yeah, like it's just so perfect. I mean, I have limited interest in the human figures, mainly because we will never see a Sheriff Brody.
Yeah, we're never going to see a Roy Scheider.
So you're
his estate is not interested.
Right. So, you're not going to be able to get a complete team.
Yeah, I know.
So that kind of bugs me a little, but I want that shark, and I want to, the icing on the cake would be if he also comes with the rubber band, not that he has
right. Just
make a rubber band one of the accessories as well. Yeah. But yeah, I'm super stoked for this.
This is the shark is a must-have. Hooper and Quinn are both must-haves. I'll probably, because I kept the 8-inch ones in the box, because without a shark and without Brody, like just those two on the shelf are not particularly exciting. But I will absolutely get these two figures now that I've got a shark to go with. Now, I don't know how you display this shark. Do you hang it from the ceiling? Do you stick Quint in its mouth? Like, what are we doing here? I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Surely it comes with some sort of armature or something, right?
No, I think because it's the game, it's just the shark. Now, here's the thing, though. This could be the first release of this shark, and then later on, we get like battle damaged Quint with the shark with some kind of display for it. I mean, you know how these companies
and that's what I was thinking, because NECA loves doing that. And for the I guess purists out there that want to be able to have half-eaten Robert Shaw, well, I feel like you're going to get that opportunity.
And look, down the line, when they get the Saturday Night Live license, maybe this is they reuse the shark again. I don't know. Candygram, it would need a voice chip if they did that. All right, so that brings it. Oh, unless I don't know. I don't know if I've got one up next or not. Let's find out, because this was on my list as well. But I did, because I had the advantage of seeing everybody's lists, I did pick a couple of alternates. So let's see if I picked an alternate here. Oh, I sure did.
Excellent.
This was so exciting once I realized what it was. So what we're looking at are the Hot Wheels Transformers crossovers. And if somebody just told me Hot Wheels Transformers crossovers, I would have thought, oh, okay, well, it's going to be Hot Wheels versions of Optimus and Bumblebee and whatever else. Okay, cool. Because they already did an Optimus, right?
Yeah.
And okay, cool. I don't need that. What this is, though, is classic Hot Wheels designs that transform into robots, and that is awesome.
My first thought when I saw these is, how has this not been done before?
Right.
How has it taken this long?
Well, right. How have Hot Wheels not done transforming cars?
Yeah.
I mean, GoBots were basically compatible with Hot Wheels. How did Mattel not jump on that? No, there's no answer.
Yeah, there's not. That's the answer. There's no good reason.
So these look great. I love the accessories that they've got with them. If you look, that blue car has some like kind of flame accessories or exhaust accessories or whatever. It's just great, and it's I mean, we've seen these Hot Wheels designs for probably our entire lives. I know for sure that black car has been around forever.
I've owned that blue one.
Yeah. So
That-
I mean, this is great.
The shininess of the blue, like it looks like you have literally just taken the Hot Wheels car, sized it up. It's great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the other thing is I can't really tell how big these are. Are they? I mean, they're Hot Wheels sized, right? Aren't they?
No,
Oh,
there's
they're
no
not?
way. No,
I
if they
thought
were Hot
they-
Wheels, if they were Hot Wheels sized cars, those
the
would
Optimus-
be considered Legends figures, and the articulations of Legends figures doesn't look
But the Optimus is Hot Wheels sized, and he's got articulation like that.
really.
I think
I-
these are Hot Wheels sized.
I think tomorrow I'm gonna have to finally make time to watch some of these. How did Rekship pronounce it? Interviews? Viewways?
I don't know how deep you have to dig because this was it. This was the only representation for this. I don't know how deep. you
Yeah,
have to dig to
but
find
you've
these.
got, but whoever,
Somebody's walking around with a camera.
right? Like you're, either Robo or Dan. Like somebody went to this booth to talk.
Yeah,
to
I bet Pixel
them.
Dan. I bet Pixel Dan got this one. And speaking of images, I will mention once again our images tonight are all courtesy of ToyArc.com and Toy Newsy or Toy Newsy. I don't know .com. Toy News International. We're very appreciative that they allowed us to share their images for this presentation. All right, Schweck, back to you. Let's find out what you got. Oh, look at this guy.
This was almost on my list.
Oh, the Lobo. And here's the thing. I have several Lobo figures. He's come out many times. The minute you put dog in the package, I'm buying it.
So this is the Beast Kingdom Lobo. And I've got actually done reviews here on the channel of the Beast Kingdom 1989 Batman or Dynamic Action Heroes, the most awkward name of a toy line ever. But I reviewed the Batman and Joker, and I like them quite a bit. So this will be a solid figure. But I can't help but notice in the display, why is he holding his chain like that?
It's a magic chain.
They haven't put the chain together.
Like
whoever
should be
put their
around his
display,
wrist.
whoever put their display together was the same person that worked on Hasbro's, and
I'm changing my offer. I put out the offer to Hasbro to hire me on to arrange their displays and make sure their figures were all accessoried up and posed properly. I rather am going to offer my services to Toy Fair to go around to all of the different presenters and fix their displays because clearly they all need the help. As a matter of fact, I'll stick around and do presentations because I know about all of this stuff. Speaking of which, so Beast Kingdom, if you're just listening to the audio version of this release, this is a 8-inch figure, which I'm not going to refer to as 8-inch scale because inches are not a scale. It's soft goods, super articulated. The portrait on this thing looks absolutely great. It looks like it only, well, we don't know what the range of accessories might be because both of the Beast Kingdom figures that I have are loaded with accessories. So I imagine this figure is actually going to come with more than what we're looking at here. To the point where I would be surprised if he doesn't include an actual chain. But high quality stuff, really well done soft goods, and big and bulky. I like that he's bulky.
mm-hmm.
All right, that brings us back to Kristian. And your next pick is truly.
Was there any
outrageous.
doubt?
No.
So I still have not been able to get my hand on one of the gems that came out. Right now, they're still just a Walmart exclusive, but the fact that they're going into the Misfits, and honestly, their songs are better. I love the what parents thought punks looked like in
Right.
the 80s designs for the Misfits. And as someone who spent a lot of money on the Integrity dolls that they did back in the early mid 2000s, these look honestly like the articulation, everything looks the same, and this is an affordable price point. Like I'm glad to see that the line is going to continue on.
My gut tells me the initial offerings were kind of a to get the market hot.
Yeah,
I
just
think
see the
these,
interest.
yeah, I think these will be you'll be able to get your hands on these if they don't do
for
a
sure.
full on another run like in some way. Well, if you consider something else we'll be talking about, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if these showed up on Big Bad.
Yeah.
So this looks great. This Misfits, and pardon me, I don't know. Is this pizzazz?
This is pizzazz.
Okay. The face paint, the hair, like the color, this figure looks incredible.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the articulation. These are articulated just like, or they appear to be just like Marvel Legends or something.
They are. I think it's 21, 22. I think it said points of articulation.
I mean, these look great, and if all the Misfits look this cool, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be tempted because I bought the Super Set. Well, Super 7 only did pizzazz.
Yeah,
they didn't do anybody else.
No, and that was just in reaction,
right
scale. You know, they're doing an excellent mix, I feel, of the cartoon colors with the toy design, and just like you could have these next to any, other figures, the most colorful. I could put these on my Silverhawk shelf. They're still gonna pop.
Yeah. Stacks in the chat says somebody needs to help McFarlane with his Mortal Kombat display. People lost their mind when Todd revealed those with those poses. When I first saw those, I thought they were the Batman 66 style because they're just standing there. They're like they don't look interesting at all. It was weird. They were almost on my list. All right. Speaking of my list, so back to Trick or Treat Studios, and this is exactly what I was talking about. This figure that is now, granted, it's probably got a cut at the waist.
Looks like it got arm cuts.
Yeah, well, it's got shoulders, it's got wrists probably, and then I'm sure the head turns, but still minimal articulation. But what we're looking at is Maniac Cop, which is something I never thought I would see a figure of. And that's even considering all the crazy horror figures we've gotten over the past 30 years. Like this Maniac Cop, this is wild to see this. It looks, I think this might be the best looking of these figures that Trick or Treat Studios has showed yet. Great film. If you haven't seen it, you need to check it out.
Yeah, I completely missed this somehow when I was looking at their stuff.
I love it. It's bulky. It's thick. Proportionally, it looks great. Again, I'm not super thrilled that it's probably going to have that $35 price point for what you're getting in the box. But sometimes you got to look at it's a Maniac Cop figure.
Yeah, you're not getting Maniac Cop anywhere else.
Right. Like NECA probably isn't, going after that license. So if you want this, you got to get it, which really is kind of how I feel about the Killer Clowns. But man, there's so many of them. They're doing 3 more. So that's 6 Killer Clowns at $35 a pop. That's a lot of money for very limited figures.
I mean, you got to figure too. The license for Maniac Cop can't be that much. Like,
right.
A trip to Chipotle, maybe. Like,
But yeah, this one, and again, check out toyark.com or Toy News International for more galleries of all of this stuff. But this Maniac Cop just looks great, and I need it for my weird horror shelf. All right, Schweck, let's see what you got next.
It's me. It's the ODV. Now,
speaking of toys that we never imagined we'd get, the fact that Super 7 has released like 7 Old Dirty Bastard figures at this point is nuts.
Here's what is important about this one, though.
Yes.
Because this is the We Teach the Children ODV.
Yes.
And so you just get to hold it and shout, it's for the children. That's the only reason I want it.
White Vegeta's asking, is Jim 1/12?
It's 1/6.
We get. I would love to see 1/12 Jim. I would love to see Reaction Plus Jim, but they are full on 1/6 scale doll size.
But yeah, I mean that's the only reason I want it, so I can say it's for the children. And I love some ODV.
Well, I've got a couple other Reaction figures. I've got the Ultimate, which, by the way, like really, I think I reviewed it on the channel. Yeah, I reviewed it here on the channel. Really underrated Ultimate. It's actually one of the better Ultimates they've done, and they did a deluxe as well. So if you don't need all the accessories that come with the Ultimate, for $35, you can get this amazing Old Dirty Bastard figure.
Yeah. And who doesn't need an Old Dirty Bastard?
Everybody
I
needs
mean,
one.
I thought the only place I could do that is after the sun went down at Dragon Con, walking around outside. And this is much safer, and I won't need any shots afterwards.
Well, speaking of shots, we are going to shoot it back over to Kristian with something that was on all 3 of our lists. Let's talk about the Loyal Subjects mask.
Now,
wait, this was on your list too, wasn't it, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all 3 of us. This is the only thing all 3 of us picked.
When this was initially announced, when Loyal Subjects did their first press release saying, "Hey, we've partnered up with Hasbro, and we're going to be doing all of these classic lines," we had no clue what to expect.
And to a certain extent, I think if you look at the Loyal Subjects offerings that are like in Walmart right now, my reaction to that announcement was, yeah, sure you are.
Right. Yeah, there was just a lot of curiosity. When this dropped, and they dropped this promotional photo before the convention started. I feel like this dropped on Wednesday or Thursday. And man, again, brilliant tactic on their part because it got everybody talking about it. And I am still seeing people posting and talking about them. The reaction to these figures is so much bigger than what I thought.
It's not often that we see, and look, I may have missed some things. I'm not in every corner of the internet because, good Lord, I need to find some joy in life. It is not often we see like across the board positive reactions to anything. And I have yet to see anybody say anything negative about this.
And the way they released those early promo pics too, the ones in the shadows where you could like kind of make out what it was going to look like before. I think even this, I think they knew that they nailed these and acted accordingly.
This isn't even a complaint because I don't disagree with what they're doing. My wish had been for 1/18 scale mask to blend in with Reaction Plus. However, the price points that they're bringing these in at, apparently the Rhino is like 99 or no 90. I think it's 90, isn't it? Somebody posted it's oh shoot, I don't remember what it was now. Maybe it's 95, 75, 45, 25, something like that.
Yeah, I remember the cheapest one, was like 20. It's either like 22 or 25. I think I might have sent it in our chat. So, well, you guys talk.
But
I'm
it's,
gonna
I
look.
mean, as far as I'm concerned, the pricing is good. Hoffman says only issue is no chrome. The vac metal was so important. Yeah, but what they've used is pretty shiny. Yeah, it's not vac metal, but whatever the deal is with vac metal now.
And I feel like the pieces that need to be chromed, like, because it's not so expensive, right? It's not like you're trying to chrome the whole vehicle. A chrome pin is going to do perfect for the pieces that you need. So if you like customizing, I feel like you'll be able to get that really that look fairly cheap.
Yeah, it's just not worth increasing the price point on these, I think.
Yeah.
For them to have done it. But they look, I mean, they're dead on.
Yeah, I mean, they are. It's not even a squint. I was going to say it's like the squint test that Lenny talks about with Joe's, but it's not even that. It's that they're just more refined versions of those original toys. They look like exactly what I want them to look like.
They're masked in HD.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Okay, so that brings it back. Oh, and this is I think I said this on Audible Interlude already. I am all in on this line because for years I have been tempted to start a vintage mask collection, which obviously is very cost prohibitive. So for these coming in at the prices they are, which White Vegeta says the only complaint I have for mask is the price. I do not take any issues with the price. I think considering the modern market, and especially what toy prices are going to be over the next few years, like I'm going to feel real lucky to get these at the prices they're charging for them. All right, that brings it back to, well, I don't know if it brings it back to me or not, because I might have just gone with this one. Let's see. Oh, no, it's me again. And courtesy of toyarc.com, this is another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universal Monsters crossover, but not in the way I expected. I knew they were doing Dracula as Shredder, but I did not expect it would be like straight up Bela Lugosi Dracula as Shredder. This is incredible. It has the bat mask that's almost kind of like a nod to the Francis Ford Coppola version. The Shredder, like, this is unbelievable.
When I first saw this, I didn't even realize that it was Shredder. I thought, oh, that is such an awesome original Dracula design.
Right.
Then when I saw the alternate head, I was like, oh, wait.
Yeah, it is the perfect look, these are words I never thought I would be saying. This is the perfect combination of Shredder's armor and Dracula's suit. I mean, it just looks absolutely incredible. And if you notice in some of the better pictures, again, go to toyarc.com and toynewsy.com to check out the full galleries. On his face, he's got the 3 claw marks from Splinter, just like the movie Shredder does, because all of the other monster figures have been based on movie looks. Like the April is Judith Hoag as Bride of Frankenstein. So they've really been basing it in the movie looks of the Turtles, but this is just above and beyond anything I ever expected. This is another one of those, to me, that's like special enough that, like, if you're just into cool toys, this is just a cool toy. And I just noticed the sick turtle candelabra.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things that first caught my eye, because I was, when I saw it, I was like, did I ever think that I needed a turtle with a candle on its back accessory? No, but now that I've seen it, I realize that is a hole shape in my heart that has been missing my whole life, because that is so great.
I'm also realizing, so it's got the unmasked portrait that is very, if it's not actually a Bela Lugosi portrait, it is certainly very close. It's got the helmet that is similar to the Coppola battle armor Dracula, but then it also has the sort of basket helmet of the movie Shredder, but just altered with like a bat mask on it. This is incredible. This might be my best in show. I don't know. We'll find out later on.
What's the white accessory? Is that a
I
turtle
think it's
skull?
yeah.
Oh, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh. All right. That brings us to Schweck's next pick. Oh no, wait, I'm sorry. Wait, why did we oh, because it was Mask.
Yeah.
So this brings us back to Kristian.
Yep. So
Explain yourself, because I bought one of these RoboForce figures and it's okay.
yeah, I got one as well.
Oh, that's the one I got. It's okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
As someone who had the original RoboForce toys, they were not great.
No, they weren't.
And when and Nacelle is one of those companies that I feel like is finally starting to find their footing. And
after
like,
they've gone on clearance at Walmart.
yeah, but I feel like their Walmart deal is actually, even though stuff went on clearance, it's getting them the exposure that they needed. Because think about when Wave 1 came out. Like, I thought the line was dead because there hasn't been anything for, gosh, I feel like it's been well over a year.
Yeah.
And when you look at the concepts of the original RoboForce figures, there are some really good nuggets of ideas in there. They just all used that terrible form factor. So seeing that they are continuing with the line and now giving each of them more of an individualistic look that to me is just so robotic. And I know they also have an animated show that's going to be starting on Tubi sometime this year.
And they're launching the Nacelle-verse with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay,
I'm going to choose to forget that part.
Is that going to add value to your trading card?
But hang on, let me see if I can find this press release real quick. Ryan Reynolds and The Rock lead new shared universe. They are spearheading a brand new shared universe, the Nacelle-verse.
Is this what happens when the DCU rejects you? Like, come on, Rock. But yeah, I just think for robots, these are great designs. I actually liked everything that they showed. I love the fact that for the people who are the fans of the villains of Biker Mice from Mars, that you are now getting them. Yeah. I just don't necessarily care for the humans. I just wanted the mice. And
the fact that they're actually doing the motorcycles, like, that's really cool. Clearly, Nacelle, which if you don't know, Nacelle Toys was started by the people who did the toys that made us, and they clearly understand toys because that. Why? I don't know. These RoboForce figures did not capture my imagination, but they are really well done figures. As Kristian alluded to, far better than the original RoboForce figures. The Sectars, they look really good, but without the puppets, I don't get the point
and
of them.
Also, when I finally saw them in person, they did not make them at the same scale as the original figures.
So they're smaller.
you can't even blend them in.
Right.
But honestly, like after getting their Biker Mice from Mars figures and the couple of RoboForce figures they've done, I know Ramen Toys has put stuff out there of the Brave Star line, but we've not seen any updates. I would really like to see Nacelle tackle that now.
Oh, see, I'd rather see Mattel bring it back. I'd love to see a Masterverse Brave Star,
Sure,
Origin style Brave
sure.
Star.
I just
But-
don't think that's going to happen.
The Rock is made for Brave Star. They really are gonna.
Oh wow, yeah. Wreckship85 says the hierarchy of power in the Nacelle universe is about to change forever. It is true. It is true. So yeah, look, I'm interested to. So far, they have not produced anything that I'm like, oh, I have to have that. Well, we'll see. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Next up, Playmates Toys continues its revival of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys. Actually, before we went live, we spent like 20 minutes talking about all of the stuff that Playmates has been doing with this. But I had to pick one thing. Again, visit toyarc.com for full galleries because there's other really, really cool stuff. But this mutant module, I told Kristian before we went live, like once they released the pizza thrower, I was like, well, anything is on the table because that actually has mechanics in it. So this mutant module, I didn't have this because I was collecting Ninja Turtles when they were happening back in the day. That I went from G.I. Joe to Ninja Turtles, and I never had a mutant module, and I always wanted one. And now I'm going to be able to get one, and I'm thrilled, and it looks great. Kristian, fill us in. So the Amazon Technodrome, I put in a pre-order, and then once I found out it was undersized, I canceled my pre-order. But apparently there's a reason behind that.
Right. So it had something to do with like shipping, not like shipping laws, but it wouldn't, they were able to classify it as something else due to the size and the weight, whereas if it was the original size, 1-to-1, then it would not have been able to classify for that, and so the cost would have been exponentially large, sort of like the difference between sending something first class and media class.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, hey. So with everything I read for the reveals that they had at this toy fair, though, obviously these are all much smaller, and like the sewer playset, for those of you who didn't have it growing up, it's all like individual walls.
Right, you have to assemble it.
Like
It can go in a smaller box than the Technodrome could.
So everything else, like everything that they showed here, is the exact same as those original Playmate toys.
Which, by the way, they showed the layer. They showed several new figures that were really exciting to see. They're doing deep cuts. And if they want to reproduce the entire line, I'll buy it all. Especially, again, the price points they're putting this stuff out at, very reasonable, in my opinion.
What's this one about run at?
I would guess it'll be... So wait, the pizza thrower was either 30 or 35. And like I said, that has mechanics in it. So I would guess this 30, 35.
That's a good deal.
Maybe not. It might be a little bigger. I don't know. But like the figures are all like 10, 12 bucks a piece, depending on where you buy them. The toilet taxi, I think, was 20, and it included a figure. Like they're all coming in very reasonably.
They've done a very
priced.
good job at keeping this at an impulse buy.
Yeah.
Toy line.
The only, so far in the entire line, and I would love an explanation for this, the only problem I've had is the Bebop they did has no paint from the waist down. It's just all black. It's terrible. And I don't understand how it could have even happened because nothing else is missing paint apps in that way. It's bizarre, and I hope they revisit Bebop and fix that. All right, that brings us to Schweck. What you got next? So we talked about this on Audible Interlude, but Schweck wasn't there. So
I know. Yeah. So we don't have to talk about it too much because I'm sure y'all have covered it at length. But when Classified first started, I made a budgetary decision that I would not go all the way in Classified, which has been very difficult, except for Dreadnoks and a few Cobra. But I mean, what is there to say about this? Come on. It is unbelievable.
Well, the point I made when we talked about it on Monday is that this, to me, is something that stands outside of Classified. This gets its own display. Mm-hmm. This, if they had released this set in like 2019 before Classified even happened, everybody would have bought it, and it would have just been a thing. And we would have been talking about like, oh, it'd be really cool if they did some more 1/12 scale G.I. Joes, but this would have been a worthy release unto itself. Mm-hmm. And that's how we can look at it now, is like, this is just a thing you're buying because Cold Slither is awesome. You're not buying this because you're a Classified collector or because, one thing or another. You're just buying this because Cold Slither rules.
You can't look at that feathered hair on Ripper and be like,
right?
I don't need that in my life. Like, no, you can't say no to it.
You know what I thought about is it would be funny if Zartan had come with an alternate hairpiece that looked like his hood but hair. Because that was always the thing in the cartoon. Is it alternated between looking like a hood or is it hair? What's happening? I hope if Super 7 does a regular Reaction Plus Zartan, they do his hood as hair. I would love to see that.
If they're sticking with the Sunbow
versions,
yeah, that's how it's going to be.
I would hope so. This is awesome. This is just
look at the moccasins, the French moccasins. It's just amazing.
All right, that brings us back up to Kristian.
Be still my heart. What we do in Shadows is the TV show. Like, the movie was good. The show leaps and bounds so much better, and it's one of those shows that, to me, there is no bad episode. Any episode that you can point to say, okay, that was maybe the weak episode of the season, was still infinitely better than 99.9% of what there is. And it's a show that I never thought we would get any type of merchandise for. So to see that we're getting Toonie Terrors of them, and that they're including the Naja doll that's possessed by the ghost of her pre-vampire form and the Colin Robinson baby, was like, they are making these for the fans, and that is fantastic.
So I was not a big fan of the movie. It lost me when the werewolf showed up. The movie just lost me. I have heard that the show is far, far, far better. I need to check it out. And that's really all I have to say.
I don't feel as bad now because I haven't watched the show either, even though I know I need to. It's what we talk about watching, and it just has not happened. And I watch some bad TV.
Let me know when you guys finally decide to watch it. I'll do a rewatch. I mean, this is honestly, when I am working on photo edits or whatever, this is my feel good show that just plays on the background constantly.
Is it half hour or hour?
Half hour.
Oh, okay. As soon as I'm done with my Modern Family rewatch, I will do this next. Because I like to do a half hour.
It's like 9 or 10 episodes a season, and there's only the 6 seasons.
Okay.
So I think that's what makes it so great is there was no filler.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, that's I like to have a sitcom, like as I'm going to bed, I'll put a sitcom on, and that's I think I'm in season 7 of Modern Family right now. So as soon as I'm done with that,
Wow.
I'll hit this. I it's very tough for me. I go back and forth like Modern Family, Parks and Recreation, and then of course like Cheers for just
Mhm.
best sitcoms ever. I can't pick because those three to me are like you were saying, like even the less good episodes are still far better than anything else you're watching.
Parks and Recs, I have to skip the first couple of seasons. I usually start with like season 3
Well,
on.
so I loved Parks and Rec from the start, but then it got so much better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like you're right. Now in retrospect, the first season and a half ish aren't as good. That's a good point.
When it first aired and I was watching it, I did not mesh with season 1 at all. I think I gave it like 4 or 5 episodes.
Oh,
And I
really?
was
See,
like, this
I liked
is
it.
not for me. And then when I think when it first started streaming on Hulu years ago, and I did a watch of it because everybody was telling me, oh, you just got that one character leaves, it gets much better.
Once
And
Adam Scott and Rob Lowe come in,
correct.
Once
So
Mark leaves.
that it did. It totally won me over. And there were good moments in the first season, but I still have that connection of when it first aired. And it's hard for me to shake that. So
I get it. Well, and also Ron was more of a dick at first. Like it was
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Whereas, well, okay, so Modern Family, perfect from the start. But then I also just recently watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine all the way through for the first time. That perfect from the start.
See, our old roommate loved that show, but I can't think of his name at the moment. The main guy from Saturday Night Live,
Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
I could not stand him for years, but then after watching Brooklyn, I watched. It took me an episode and a half of Brooklyn Nine-Nine to be like, oh, he's great.
Okay,
And
I'll give it a chance.
I could
then.
not even stand to look at him for years.
Yeah.
But now I don't know, something flipped. Rec Ship says Parks and Rec needs its own O-ring line. I know there's a reaction line, but they aren't worth it for me personally. I'm with you on that. Like if you had told me, well, here's the problem: is the Parks and Rec reaction figures started coming out right as the price jumped up to $20, and I was like, I cannot pay $20 a piece for these because I want all of these characters, but I just can't justify that.
Well, I'll do you one better, Rec Ship. They should do a reaction plus just Nick Offerman line. Just like every character he has ever played in any show.
In anything. Yeah.
Like,
let's do that. All right. Next up should be me. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Mattel's Masters Universe Origins Thundercats crossovers that are what I wish the other Masters crossovers had been, because this is actually the third Origins crossover line. It started with WWE, and by the end of that line, they were doing figures where you could remove the armor and it was just regular figures. And of course, now that's morphed into the Superstars line. And then they did the Ninja Turtles stuff, which I've bought one. I bought Trapjaw. I would buy Merman if I ever found it. But this is what I want these crossover lines to be. The figures are a little more expensive. They're coming in at $20 a piece, but to me it's worth it because you can remove all of the Masters Universe stuff and you've got Origin style Thundercats figures.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I think most of us have wanted forever.
I feel like they kind of backdoored that one in somehow. When I saw you could do that, I was like, I wonder if that was an original discussion they had when talking about this license.
I gotta think it has to be. So we've in this initial. I don't know if this is the first wave. This seems like a lot of figures for a first wave. It might be the first 2 waves, but you've got He-Man in like cat armor, Chitara, Lion-O, Panthro, a Skeletor, Mumra crossover figure, Tigra, and then Battle Cat as a Thundercat.
Mhm.
That he is just stunning.
And I love to think that whoever has who I don't know who owns the license for Thundercats.
Warner Brothers.
Is it Warner Brothers?
Mhm.
Okay. I like to think that Warner Brothers and probably I'm sure Mattel. I know the folks at Mattel saw it. The 4 Horsemen Battle Cat figure.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh no, we need a
Yeah.
piece of that action.
Mhm.
This is fantastic.
Now-
The possibilities are endless.
You know who we're missing here, right, Dave? Who you need.
No, you are incorrect.
Think of Snarf with his Orko hat on.
It will probably happen. Well, and yeah, we're missing Wily Cat, Snarf. Obviously, we don't have any mutants in this mix, but there's all kinds of room to expand on this. But I don't need the He-Man, but I will buy everything else in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the other things that I love about the Battle Cat is the terror clause that he comes with. Okay, it's a reuse. However, as such a huge fan of the 2000X series,
Right,
as
right.
I am, that's that Battle Cat, and
Well,
that
he has
is
that samurai
same helmet.
look.
Yeah.
These are perfection. This also could be my best in show. All right, that brings us back to Schweck. Well, okay. I
look,
really need
this
to know.
is a Trojan horse.
What is what?
This is a Trojan horse. Look, Anakin looks great. This is my excuse to talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Which,
That's
by the way,
fair.
while you're talking about Star Wars, put over your show.
Oh, yeah, you can join us on Execute Chapter 66, a Star Wars fiction podcast. It's a book club. We read a new book every 2 weeks. Okay. One, I am very excited to get this Anakin figure from Ahsoka. This is the first time we've seen a better shot of him. That's all well and good. Here is my issue. Star Wars showed basically nothing. The Star Wars team was like, oh, we do all these live streams. Marvel Legends said the same thing. We're not showing much because we show you live streams. Meanwhile, G.I. Joe comes out swinging for the fences. And I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I just don't.
Joe showed so much stuff, we had to do an impromptu live stream about it. And they've got their own live stream 13 days from now. So, like, not only did they show all that stuff at Toy Fair, they've got a whole ass live stream in 2 weeks.
I just don't know what they're doing with Star Wars anymore. They have.
Neither do they.
They don't. Just knocked into the ground. And all they showed this. And then they were like, well, we're going to show, we had the Revenge of the Sith anniversary figures, which, look, that packaging looks great. They're all a bunch of redos that we've already gotten like multiple times. I just don't understand why.
And that I almost put the vintage collection Hammerhead on here.
I do not like his skirt, but I love the fact that he comes with the power of the Force blaster thing.
Right. And that's where, okay, I know they just did him in the Black Series. And I thought, oh, are they already re-releasing him on a Star Wars card? No. Oh, it's vintage collection. Missed opportunity. It would have been an automatic buy if they had done him in the blue as like an homage to the Kenner style,
The
because
Kenner.
obviously
Yeah.
he's coming out because of the Cantina playset.
Right.
But I'm like, no talking about that, no press release, nothing.
Look, fellas, look, you can take your vintage collection, you can take your Black Series, you can turn them sideways, shine them up real nice, and stuff them straight up your candy ass, because all I care about is the Star Wars Retro Collection, baby. This is all the Star Wars I need. I wasn't even going to talk about this tonight, but if we're
It is
talking Star
good.
Wars, I'm going to talk about our Rebel Fleet Trooper. I'm going to talk about our Dr. Evazan, our Sand Trooper. Dude, this is what I really want out of Star Wars toys. Go back, redo every single one of the original figures, and make all those figures we never got the first time around. Just keep these going. Now, granted, well, I was going to say it sucks that they're Target exclusive, but apparently they're still available right now, so that's
Well,
fine.
That's on Dave's special Target access website.
Yeah.
It's the same one. It's the same one where I get my collector con stuff. Oh, but also I have to say, don't buy from Target right now. But this is the stuff I am loving. This retro collection stuff right now. It is one of my favorite things I'm collecting.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know what to do with Hasbro anymore. But I do like this Anakin figure. I'm excited.
It looks
about
great.
It's
It looks
better
great.
than that first Clone Wars one they put out.
Hoffman asks, are they keeping the Star Wars license? And to that I say, who the fuck knows?
They are.
They are.
They've got to be. Look, even though it's not. Yes, Star Wars is in sort of a slump right now, but if Hasbro weren't making terrible decisions about what they release, it wouldn't be affecting the licensed product. If Hasbro was putting out great toys that people wanted, it wouldn't matter what was going on with the media. If Hasbro was putting out great aliens in the vintage collection, awesome droids and monsters in Black Series, people wouldn't care about the media. But they're not doing any of that. Tom Henry just jumped in. You missed some Parks and Rec content, and you know what you also missed? We were going to talk about the Fang, but you weren't here, so unfortunately, we just had to move on.
Oof, that thing is pretty too.
Wait! I'm actually, you know what, Tom Henry, I'm thrilled you're here. I wish I could send you a financial bonus right now for showing up, because I thought of one of the funniest things I thought about that's G.I. Joe related. After we did our live stream the other night, I was like, what if they do a classified Fang, but it's that stubby body of that crappy Walmart one? All right, we got to keep going. We are coming up on hour number 2 here. We got to wrap this thing up. All right, so back over to Kristian. Can you tell me how to get
to Sesame Street? And I know we already have Sesame Street reaction figures. However,
but this is
a deep dive that I never thought we would see. Okay, first off, you won me over with Mr. Snuffleupagus and Big Bird.
That 2-pack is that's like, even if you're not collecting this Sesame Street stuff, I feel like that 2-pack is a must-have.
Right, and you will absolutely, you slap Roosevelt Franklin on something and I am buying it, because as a kid, like, Roosevelt Franklin is one of the greatest unsung Sesame Street characters there are. And then the Alligator King,
that's wild.
Like Super 7, I have always loved you because you like to do deep cuts, but that is like, never in my wildest dreams did I think, oh, they're gonna go that route.
Well, especially not in wave. What is this? This is only the 3rd wave, right? 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, I was thinking 3rd, because I was trying to remember, because
third,
I don't count the blind boxes as waves.
Right. No, they're not. They don't either.
So this just, the Cookie Monster with the mixing bowl, perfection. And I know there's a lot of Sesame Street product coming out. I just feel like with the other line, you're not going to get
Right.
this.
NECA isn't doing.
I would not be
Alligator
surprised
King.
if you're going to get the characters that are going to appeal to the
You're
comic.
gonna get Cookie Monster with accessories of the apron and the chef's hat. Sure. But you're not getting Alligator King. You're not getting
Right.
Roosevelt Franklin.
No.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Hats
I love
off,
this.
Super 7. You got my money.
And this is where the $20 price point becomes less of an issue, because these are collectible in a way that the $38 NECA figures are not. Not just from a pricing perspective, from a space perspective, because when you're looking at Sesame Street, there's such a wide cast of characters available. It's just not practical to think I'm going to buy all of these 1/10 scale figures unless that's all you're collecting.
But even with the reaction, Elmo, not necessarily my jam. Really didn't become popular until I had way aged out of Sesame Street. But seeing the Alligator King, that makes me think, oh, we're going to get a Prairie Dog.
Right.
Eventually. We're, going to get, oh my gosh, if they do the King of 8, if Super 7 could figure out a way to do the pinball machine, I feel like they'll do it in this line.
The only thing that breaks my heart is we're seeing all these just incredible Sesame Street toys, and I wish that Disney didn't own Muppets.
Yeah.
But Disney doesn't own Sesame Street.
Right, that's what I'm saying, though.
Oh, okay.
But because
we're not going to get Muppets like this.
Everybody has NECA and NECA is working with Disney again, so that's good news. They're doing they're re-releasing their Nightmare Before Christmas figures. They're doing a new Stitch figure. So maybe some NECA Muppets could be on the table. I would love to see that. But we know the difficulties that Super 7 had working with Disney previously.
Right. Yeah.
All right, moving on. So my Nacelle Toys pick, super appropriate that Nacelle is doing Star Trek, I guess, considering the Nacelles on the Enterprise. So on the one hand, I'm delighted to see these. These are the Star Trek figures from Nacelle. They look way better than the initial images did. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if it was bad pictures or what. They just looked janky. I think these look really, really good. The fact that they're doing Genesis is wild. It just drives me insane that every time a new company gets the Star Trek license, they release these something from Nemesis, something from Generations, something from 2, something from so
they
by the time they realize Star Trek doesn't sell very well, they're halfway through the Wrath of Khan crew, which is all I want.
But
and
they've
we never get it done.
They have said that they've seen what constantly happens and they've heard the fans. So part of the reason why in this first wave they put characters like Tuvix in there was to show that they are in this for the long haul and they want to complete teams. So you're not necessarily, I think, was it just today or yesterday they showed some promotional photos of the Kirk that they're doing. That
was a cool reveal. As much as I don't know that anybody was scrambling for a Generations Kirk, the way they did the reveal was cool, and the figure looks amazing.
Sure, but at least to say, there's not a Spock or a Kirk. Like the Sulu, man, those close-up photos I saw, the likeness is spot.
Oh, their
It
figures
is.
look great.
So basically, they've admitted they know what's going to happen. They're going to try to fix it, but they know.
Look, I hope they do. I'll
Yeah.
tell you right now, there are in this lineup of 8 figures that we're looking at right now. I'm buying 2 of these.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Well,
they can
I
keep
don't
the
know.
price point,
I love Well, yeah, I don't. Oh wait, you know what? They're up for pre-order. Let's see what the price point is. I meant to look at it the other day, and I got completely distracted. They're up for pre-order now on nacellstore.com, and they are $28.99 each. How big are they though?
I thought 6 inches.
Yeah, they're 1/12 scale. So I'm current. Well, here, hang on. Let me do a little screen share, and we'll do some poking around. We'll do some investigative reporting.
Oh.
Nothing I like more than poking in a Genesis.
I am not. We're not starting with Captain Garrett though. Let's. Here, I want to take a look at the Genesis. So let's. Oh, the packaging looks pretty cool. Where did that go? So there's our packaging. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That computer console alone.
Yeah. Well, if you recognize that,
Yeah.
this is,
Mm-hmm.
and also, look, Audible Interlude is a very family-friendly show. We don't even brush up against PG-13, but here on the Needless Things podcast, things are a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and say, looking at this figure, titties just out.
I mean, it's a busty figure.
I was not ready for that when we kind of pulled up this image. So lots of accessories in here. Genesis is in there and looks awesome and is actually a full 2-piece. It's got the outer shell and the inner device. This is for sure a must buy, not because of the titties. And then this one is the other one that I've got to have, who may or may not be Scotty's son. I'm still not clear. Oh no, it says nephew of Chief Engineer Scott, which is not made clear in the movie because the scene where that was referenced was cut. Although if you watch, the director's cut is available on the Blu-ray, I think, with commentary by Nicholas Meyer, which is great. And I'm sorry. Do not set me off on a Star Trek path.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love the designs from that first movie.
yeah, and see that's look
at that.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he's got the radiation head.
That's great.
That's brutal. Oh, okay. So here's the other thing though. I haven't seen these available anywhere else. Are they only available through the Nacelle store? And is that how they're going to keep the line alive? Because that direct market, similar to like what Mattel did with Masters of the Universe.
But the whole purpose of Toy Fair is to get buyers for your product.
Yeah, but Nacelle had other stuff there. I don't know, man.
Or maybe they're just seeing if there's interest. Like they'll do most of the line this way, and then if a store says,
because I mean they've got that deal with Walmart now.
But these are coming out in October.
Wow.
They are not currently available anywhere else for pre-order.
Good for them then.
That might be what they're doing because Super 7 now is trying to compel people to order directly from them because they get more of a cut. Maybe that's how Nacelle is going to keep this line going, is by keeping it. Because look, if you're a Star Trek fan, you're going to go to the source. Like if Star Trek fans are going to know, if we want these figures, we have to go here to buy them. They're not casuals who are going to be like cruising Big Bad and be like, oh, look, they're new Star Trek toys. Like that's not how Star Trek fans work, because we know like you got to buy this stuff while it's out, because we don't get the same kind of service as Star Wars and other franchises. And also retailers are probably Star Trek shy after what happened with the last Playmates line.
Yep.
That's still sitting in Target at full price for some reason. Gosh, I kind of want to just no, I'll do it later. I kind of want to just order these right now, and I might after we're done. But anyway, very excited, cautiously optimistic for new Star Trek figures. All right, Schweck, explain to me why we're all right. We still haven't completed the original version of X-Force.
Yep.
And now we're revisiting, and I know they didn't do an Archangel before, or at least they didn't do.
Archangel came out in the exclusive 3 set, and it goes for quite a bit of money right now. So that's why they're releasing this.
Well, and he looks great.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time he's had the wing feathers, right?
Yeah, which I really like that.
But does he have, this is what drove me nuts about the last Archangel they put out, is he only has the big giant wings. He doesn't have the little piece for like when he's just standing around. Does this have that?
I don't think it does. I think
come on.
It makes it a pain to display.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because look, you can see the accessories in this picture. He's got fists and an alternate head, and that's it.
But
yeah,
because I see the retracted piece, 3D prints of it,
right,
all over eBay. So I figured at some point before I got back into Marvel Legends, they had to have released one.
Well, at the very least, make it so you can pull the big wings off and put the little wings on his back to.
It would be really easy for them to do. I don't know why. Why do they do a lot of things? We don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, this looks great, and
it does. And they're going to do the 2-pack of X-23 and Warpath.
And that Warpath is in well, both of those figures are in desperate need of upgrades.
Yeah.
But if they're doing this X-Force again, we need Phantom.
Well, we just got the Nightcrawler, or is he out yet?
He's shipping right now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in that Nemesis wave that's coming out.
But we still need Feral, and I think one other from the original X-Force. You get out of here. Where's the eject button?
No.
You know what? You're done. You're done.
They've said that they're going to complete the team. But important to note, it is not Uncanny X-Force. It is X-Force Volume 3.
Right.
Everybody keeps being like, Uncanny. And I'm like, no, that's not it.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. All right. Back up to, we've got to be, we're closing in on the end here. Actually, this is it. These are not technically our number one picks. These are our number one picks. So back to you, Kristian, for your final pick.
Well, then the timing couldn't be better that my number 1 and number 2 were Sesame Street related. Automatic buy, Hairy Monster. Again, a Sesame Street character that was huge when I was a kid that just doesn't get any kind of mention, or I don't even think it's been on the show in decades. And if the Alf figures that NECA did with the fur sculpting is so good that if this is just a prototype, if it comes out like this, perfection.
Well, and with the little plush guy too.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. This is another one. We've mentioned a couple over the course of the show. This is another one that's just a standout figure. Even if you're not collecting NECA Sesame Street stuff, this is such a unique, interesting looking figure that you could just buy this and put it on your miscellaneous shelf.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. So I've mentioned the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. They have launched their own toy. Well, they've got a toy company with a couple of different toy lines. They have a line of figures called Big Rubber Guys that are in the style of the old LJN wrestling figures. And what they have done is expanded on that to, what if these wrestlers had been included in that line? They've done some modern day stuff, but of course they want to branch out beyond just wrestling, and they want to pick like big, muscly, action movie type characters in that LJN wrestling figure style. And this is their initial offering. John Rambo from First Blood, and they have the license for all of the Rambo movies. But this is the first offering, and this, if you see, he's got the C-grip hands to interact with the knife and the machine gun accessories. He's got the bullet belt. I love this idea. I love that they're doing this. I love that they're going for it and expanding beyond just wrestling. And the plan is that they're going after other licenses that don't have much representation in the market right now. They already showed concept art for a Bloodsport figure. They've got really great ideas here, and I love that they're chasing their dreams. These are two guys who got fired from WWE in 2020, and in the past 5 years have gone on to be more successful in their lives than they ever were in the 14 years they worked for WWE. They started a freaking toy company. I mean, it's incredible. So I love this concept. I think it looks great. And real quick, I wanted to shout out two more things that they announced at Toy Fair. They are releasing a ring to go with their Major Bendy's line, which the Major Bendy's are smaller. I thought I had one sitting right over here, but I guess I don't. They're like the old Bendy's figures that every toy line ever has had, or every franchise ever has had. They're doing the Hardys, but the Hardys in their original like plaid tights look, which has never been done in action figure form and fits in perfectly with the original run of WWF Bendy's figures. And they're releasing a ring to go with the Major Bendy's. So they're making moves, and it's really impressive that these guys, through sheer like force of will and work ethic, are doing this stuff, and that they've obtained. Also in the Major Bendy's line, they did Jay and Silent Bob figures. They did a Buddy Christ. They're really like expanding out into other stuff, and I think that's awesome. All right, Schweck, you're bringing it home with a big one. Here we go.
There's so many questions. I mean, and look, I think you said earlier, like, I didn't buy a single McFarlane DC figure. Like,
I've bought quite a few.
I looked at them, and like there were characters where I was like, I'm interested, but the scale killed me. I mean, my DC Universe Classics is what's still on my shelves. Like,
well, it's not just the scale; it's also the weirdness of some of the articulation, the weirdness of some of the choices. I was going to say, McFarlane just does weird shit.
There were, because one of my friends, Wes, was all in on that line, and he would always send me photos, whenever he was doing his pre-orders, and it would be like, oh, look, another pre-order, another 3 Batman figures. It just seems like that's all it was. And then here in the last 2 years of the line, now all of a sudden they're branching out to other characters, and too little too late.
How many figures can we Jokerize?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's what it is the whole run of McFarlane's DC Multiverse has just been insanity. Like I've probably got 30 figures because I bought all of the movie Batman stuff that they've put out. I've picked up cool characters here and there, or like a Batman look that I really love. So I've probably got 30 to 50 things because I'm a toy collector and I can't help myself sometimes. But overall, it's just madness that I think is based on Todd McFarlane's weird taste.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so excited that DC is returning to Mattel. Now, I will say this. Look, we got to give McFarlane credit, too. The Superpowers line is fantastic.
That animated series line looks great.
Those are great. Those are based off of the DC Direct stuff. So, you can't even really give McFarlane credit for that. Some of the vehicles, though, they did that Joker mobile. That's awesome. That's really cool. They have done plenty of cool stuff, but overall, it's just weird.
And I also give him major props that because they do everything in house, he was able to stay at a $20 price point when all the other figures jumped up to $25. Okay, so his prices have started to go up now, but if like the Batmobile or even the Batman 66 play sets, if those were done by Hasbro, they'd be twice the cost than what he put them out at.
Yeah, and you're right. We got to give him credit for the pricing as well. I mean, he really has. But for the most part, the price of his products has been unbelievably fair. But I am delighted that DC is coming back to Mattel. But I think we do have to speculate about what they're going to do. I do not see a return to the DC Universe Classic style. I think we're probably going to see Masterverse style figures. I would love to see DC in the style of Origins.
Oh yeah, that would look good.
That would be really cool. I would love to see them continue Superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see why they wouldn't, but I don't see why they couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's so many other things they could potentially do. But overall, especially, I mean, look, Mattel has been firing on all cylinders with Masters of the Universe, with WWE. Like their like action figure stuff right now is as hot as it's ever been. So the idea that these minds are now going to get to work on DC, because if you look back, compare Masters of the Universe Classics when Toy Guru was running it to everything Mattel has done with Masters of the Universe over the past 5 years. And the freedom that they have, the selection of items that they've put out. So when you look at DC Universe Classics, which is a legendary toy line, but we know that again, Toy Guru had a big hand in that line, and we know he was fighting Mattel's corporate overlords every step of the way. Clearly, something has changed in the action figure outlook of Mattel. So now for DC to have the same access to creativity and resources and whatever else that Masters and WWE have.
Yeah.
When I compare DC Classics like to where Marvel Legends is now, because Marvel Legends had some very rough years, which is what got me out of the line. But like when I look at my DC Classics, man, there's really not any good-looking female figures.
I don't agree with that.
I'm just saying, like, proportion-wise, when you look at how far Marvel Legends has come with female figures, so
I will say, I think DC Universe Classics put out some good-looking females. Unfortunately, they all look exactly the same.
Yeah.
Correct.
They're all the same shape and size.
Yeah. So I am excited to see what Mattel can do with it now. Like, if they were to put them out as Masterverse style with that articulation and the extra accessories, like, yeah, because I'm a DC guy through and through.
And we also have to consider that we're entering into a new era of DC media with James Gunn in charge. So that is going to supercharge all of this as well.
Yeah, if the Gunn DC universe catches on, which I don't see any reason it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, he's to be all for making all sorts of obscure stuff and pushing stuff out. Like I'm hopeful. I haven't bought a DC toy since Classic shut down, and so now I don't know. Am I going to replace them all? I don't know.
I don't see me ever getting rid. I don't see me ever getting rid of my Classics collection, because it's just it was such a great time in collecting, and I really do still love the aesthetics of those figures, even their janky ass hips. Just like, even though Masters Universe Origins at this point to me has surpassed what Classics did, I can't get rid of those Classics figures. It's a legendary toy line. Well, guys, we have got to wrap it up. We have gone over 2 hours here. We were going to do one more segment, but we're going to consider that a collapsible segment. Before we go,
I'm going to say for the last segment, just because it's sad, it was a little sad Mezco wasn't there. I mean, like the 112, I don't collect them anymore, but I used to love seeing them. Like, they used to be the king of Toy Fair.
Unfortunately, Mezco has been showing the same 10 figures for like 3 years now. So
I know.
Look, Mezco has stuff coming up I'm excited about. They've got their 5-point Batman 1989 set, and I think it's next month that I'll be reviewing here on the channel. I can't wait. Mezco still has exciting stuff coming, but I understand that it's just not worth their time and money to go to Toy Fair. So we got to wrap this thing up. Before we go, though, Ryan, tell us where we can find you, what you're up to.
Yeah, so we're on XQ Chapter 66, Star Wars podcast. You can find us on all the places you find podcasts. We have on the social medias, although I've been really bad about updating the actual Instagram page.
Come on now.
But
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But yeah, come listen to read some Star Wars books, and I sing songs occasionally.
Nice.
Much to my co-host's unwillingness to want me to do so.
Oh, they just have no taste. Kristian, first, tell us about your toy photography, but second, tell us about this incredible G.I. Joe podcast that I understand you're part of.
Right. So you can see my toy photography on Instagram under the name Legion Cub. If you enjoyed tonight, which I know you did because I'm awesome, every other Monday or more frequently, you can catch us live here on the Needless Things channel for the Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast live streams. And then every Friday, you can hear the audio versions of our podcast. I am just as entertaining when it's only audio, just not as cute.
That's a fact.
But you definitely want to check us out. It is a very great time.
Our music is by lesexoflex.com, which you're only getting the music if you're listening to the audio version, and you're only getting my intro, my introspective intro, if you listen to the audio version of the show. It is not available on the Needless Things YouTube channel, which is where the video version will live on in perpetuity. Check out Needless Things channel on Instagram, and I have no sign-off for Needless Things, so I'll just say thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about Needless Things, and until next time, buy what you like.